Welcome Retail Ambassadors to our first monthly video. My name is Ryan Corey. I manage our community engagement efforts here at Hammer Nutrition Canada. Quite often that means making videos like these and giving fueling talks. Sajeev, who you've likely already chatted with, he is our national sales manager. So as far as people to use as resources moving forward, please send any fueling questions my way and any sales questions Sajeev's way. So anything from sales tips to if you need to place an order for the store. That said, the goal of these videos is to provide a more comprehensive look into not only our extensive fueling line, but also some of our business philosophies. One of those is we found that at the store level, if we have someone that is knowledgeable and also passionate about the product, that sales have shown to grow exponentially. Please consider these videos a primer to ask more questions. The level of education that I hope to offer you is probably adequate enough for most of the questions that you'll get from customers that come into the store. And that said, I highly encourage you to, after you finish watching this video and the ones that will follow in the next several months, is to put together one or two questions at the end of it that delve a little deeper, maybe into an area that you previously didn't understand. So that said, let's get into it. The basic components to proper fueling are water, calories, and electrolytes. Water is like the transportation system in your body. It also aids in digestion. Calories, which can be broken down into carbohydrates, protein, and fat, are your body's fuel source, and each of those components plays a different role for different levels of activity. Electrolytes, on the other hand, are minerals in the body that help conduct nerve impulses. Now, if I was to use the metaphor of a car, water would be like the highway, okay, the transportation system. Calories would be like gas in the car, so what makes it go. Electrolytes would be like oil in the car, keeps all the parts moving and makes sure that they don't burn out. Okay, so how does sport nutrition differ from whole food fueling? Well, whole foods are what we eat on a regular daily basis, and by all means we are a strong proponent of eating healthy whole foods. Sport nutrition comes into play when your activity level gets to the point where you're exerting yourself, you're huffing and puffing, and what happens inside your body is the blood that would normally go towards the digestion process begins to work its way to where your body is focusing, and that's on the working muscles. So if you're running, it's your legs. If you're swimming, it might be your legs and your arms. So stuff of this nature. So once you start exerting yourself, it becomes very difficult to digest whole foods because your body's not focused on the digestion process. Sport nutrition is important in this case is because it's very easily digested, for one, and more importantly is that it's formulated specifically for what you're doing. So there's no guesswork as might be the case with whole foods. It's perfectly formulated with the right calories, the right electrolytes. All you need to be bringing into the mix really is water. What separates Hammer from other businesses on the market, for which I know we can both appreciate there are several options out there, is first and foremost, out of all those options, we've probably been around as long, if not longer, than everyone out there. Hammer was founded in 1987, and since then we've crafted what I've come to appreciate as the most extensive line out there, meaning that we've got options for every type of athlete, doing every type of activity at every stage of that activity, from pre-fueling to during activity to also recovery, and that is wholly unique to Hammer Nutrition. Secondly, and what your customers will ultimately come to appreciate, is Hammer really prides itself on using quality ingredients, meaning we stay away from things like simple sugars, unnecessary coloring, and ultimately those fad ingredients that are popular for a month and then gone the next. So really just quality, healthy ingredients. Our target market ultimately comes in the form of an endurance athlete, or athletes that really take pride in using healthy sport nutrition. This brings us to our first product spotlight, HEED. HEED stands for High Energy Electrolyte Drink. HEED is perfect for activity of 2 hours or less. It has a carbohydrate, which is our go-to fuel source as an endurance athlete, at least initially, in the form of maltodextrin. It also has a full spectrum of electrolytes, which, as I mentioned previously, help prevent cramping, and also elements to buffer lactic acid. Lactic acid forms in our muscles when we are at an elevated level of activity or an anaerobic level of activity. What you need to know here is that HEED is purposed very similarly to mass market products like Gatorade and Powerade. But again, all default to our differentiation point, which is our quality ingredients. There is no coloring in HEED. It's not necessary. We do not use simple sugars, so anything that really ends in an ose, sucrose, fructose, as our fueling ingredients. As you kind of delve further down the rabbit hole and learn about fueling, you'll actually start to realize that simple sugars work against you, the endurance athlete, on a chemical level. They're very flavorful, they taste good, or at least to some people they taste good, and in short activity you'll never notice it. But in endurance activity, so once you get beyond an hour and 2 hours, simple sugars actually start to work against you. The flavor in here comes from a natural plant-based sweetener, in this case xylitol, which interestingly enough is actually good for your teeth. So that's something you want to tell your customers. One serving of HEED has 100 calories. Now as we progress through these videos, I'll talk about how many calories the body can actually digest per hour. And let me say that there's a difference between what you can digest per hour and what you can put in your mouth each hour. HEED comes in 4 flavors. There is the most popular, lemon lime, mandarin orange, melon, and strawberry. In Canada, we have 3 different sizes that you can choose from. There is the 80 serving jug, the 32 serving jug, and a box of single serve pouches, which come in a box of 12 and look something like this. And again, one single serve has 100 calories. Now, as far as selling to your customers, I always think of the single serve size as the sample or the introduction to a particular flavor that someone might want to try. It's always going to be better value with anything that we have for the customer to find a flavor that they like and then to buy the larger size, whether it be the 32 or the 80 serving jug. When mixing HEED, you're going to put no more than 1 to 2 servings in a bottle around this size, and this is about as much water that your body can process an hour, no more than your average size water bottle. So this is good for activity of 2 hours or less, as I mentioned previously. Now we also have a drink called Perpetuum, which customers are going to start asking about, and that is for activity of 3 hours and beyond. And I'll get into that in another video, but by all means send me questions now. So what kind of workouts fall within this magical 2 hour range that I keep referencing? Well, truthfully, it's most of the workouts we do. Weekend nights, we have limited amount of time to work with. So we have the spin classes, the gym workouts, the swim sessions. They're all going to fall within 2 hour ranges. It's really the weekend efforts that go above and beyond. Now, for anything of the hour and below, really all you need is water and maybe some electrolytes. We have a product called Fizz that I'll talk more about. That's all you really need, because hopefully you've had a meal 3 hours before and your body has enough onboard stored energy. But once you get into that 2 hour range, yes, you do need a fuel source coming in. So for these weeknight efforts in particular, this is where HEED is going to be really great. Okay, we've opened up the door. We've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about what differentiates Hammer, some general sports nutrition, and I've also introduced one of our most popular products, the Heed Sport Drink. The next step in this educational process is to email either Sajeev or myself 1 to 2 questions within the next week that open the gates even that much further and help make you the expert in your store. I look forward to your questions, getting to know you more online, whether it be by email or by phone, and look forward to another video within the next month. Alright guys, hope you're doing great, and let's do this. Hammer on!